Welcome back to part 3 of our tutorial on modeling a Nissan Skyline GTR R34 in Autodesk 3ds Max. So in our last lesson we set up our planes, we positioned them correctly, and then we simply froze them in the viewports so that you won't accidentally move them when we begin our modeling process. So we're all ready and set up for modeling at this point. Now, one thing I would like to talk to you guys about is the fact that there is more than one way to model cars, especially. A lot of people like to use spleens, which are lines that you can make, and you make a lot of them and you produce a cage, and then you add a modifier to it that will wrap the mesh around your cage. Now, for this particular tutorial, we're going to be using subdivisional polygon modeling. So it's just going to be making a cage of the entire car, and if you're following along with this, don't worry about getting it exact at all. You really just want to make a cage, because it's not until we start detaching all of the individual parts that we'll go into topics like curvature and replicating real life depth with a lot of these parts, like the roof, the hood, the fenders, the front bumper. So if you want to just watch and follow along, I'm going to begin modeling the process, and we're going to start with the roof. So just go ahead and make a plane right at the back of the roof. Take the length sigs down to 1 and the width sigs down to 1. And you're going to go ahead and lift this up so that in our front and side viewports, it is literally touching the back of the roof. And you can lift it up to right about there, because like I said, we're not too concerned with the curvature right now. We're really just making a rough cage. And go ahead and make this like gray. And then we're going to hit M to bring up the material editor. Double click on standard, go to the diffuse option and lower the opacity to 50%. And this is just so we can kind of follow the guides as we model along. Right click, convert this to editable poly. Go to the vertex selection. Now you want to grab these two inside vertices right over here and place those at the 0 on the X, so that way the symmetry modifier will correctly mirror our car once it's done, because we're really only going to be making half of it. Okay, and just kind of put these right over there. You can go to the side view right over here and lower this, just like that. Now, as you can see in our perspective view, we've created our first plane towards our car, and from this point on we're pretty much just going to be extruding it as we create our cage. So click on the edge selection, go to the top view, select the edge going out, hold down shift and extrude that. Now, like I said before, you actually want to make as little geometry as possible during this. So I'm only going to make 3 for the roof. Okay, go ahead and bring that down in the side view. Just like that. And then with the edge still selected in the side view, bring it down twice for the windshield. About 3 times for the hood. Okay, so just go ahead and bring that down. Back to edge selection. Go to your front viewport and drag that down 2 more times. So now if we go back to our perspective, we have about half of our car's cage created. And now from this point, it's really just going to be moving along the car as we connect all of these points essentially. So go ahead and grab the back edge, the side edge of your A-pillar area that we just created. We're going to select this, 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 and this. Just try to line that up. Not going too much into detail. Really just outlining at this point. Go ahead and slide those up. Create. Now at this point, a lot of it just comes down to really just looking at what you're making. And as you can see, we're going to have one subdivision to connect going down the hood over here, which we can do right now. So grab these three edges, hold down shift, bring them down to right about there. Go into your top view and just line them up with what we just created. Click on vertex. Now I'm going to use the target weld tool, and we're going to attach this back vertex to this front one, and you'll find that in the vertex selection toolkit right under edit vertices. So go ahead and bring that up just a little bit. Okay, so I'm just kind of working as we're going. Now we're going to take what we just made over here. We're going to go back to where we started on the roof, grabbing this edge, and just bring that straight down for the windshield. Create another one, bring that down just like that. In your left view, continue going down. And we're going to make two right there too, because you want to keep it pretty even between the front and the back when it comes to modeling. It's not necessarily that you have to be proportional in this stage. It's just that we're not really aiming for any type of accuracy really when we're making this cage. And a lot of the first mistakes that tend to happen when you're modeling are when you first get into modeling cars. Like, you're going to think that you need a lot of geometry in the beginning because the parts need to be represented accurately, when really you just want to make an attempt to get the overall curvature of the body correct using this cage that we're going to be making. And after that point, you're really just going to be deselecting all the pieces that you made, and you're going to be selecting all the pieces that you made and then detaching them. So don't worry too much about the rough shape. So we're going to go ahead and grab these. And then go ahead and bring that down one time. Grab this edge. Bring that down just like that. Vertex selection mode. Go ahead and grab the target weld tool. Attach these two vertices. Once again, go to your back. You can bring that up a little bit. Try to line that up roughly right before you target weld. Go ahead and zoom in. and once again attach these two vertices. We're going to be attaching that as well. Just go ahead and just bring that down a little bit. Now one more time, take this entire row of vertices now, and go ahead and bring that down one more time. Once again, going into vertex selection. I'm sorry, let's get out of that. I'm sorry, we're going to do that one more time, but one thing I wanted to do was to kind of match them up a little bit more closely before I welded them. So I want you guys to do that as well, because the only reason that I really mentioned that is because if I was to leave a big gap from there going down to that vertice, it would just be a lot of more work, obviously, to grab all these vertexes at the bottom and then line them up. So when you're extruding your faces, just try to make sure to keep it as even as possible, and then when you have to weld something, just kind of zoom into it and do it just like that. Now we're going to go right back to our front, grab these two vertices and just raise them up a little bit. Grab the target weld tool, take that vertex and just lift it up a little bit. Now this is a very rough process that we're doing right over here, and we're not aiming for, once again, any type of accuracy with this. And you know, you would be surprised, you would think that making a lot of geometry in the beginning would be a good idea, and I think that it's not a bad way to go if you were thinking about using the technique where you kind of start at the wheel, at one of the wheel wells, and then you kind of model every last detail as you go along. But I like to save that for last, because I find that once you can get the curvature of the body correct by making a rough cage, molding the hood, stuff like the windows and the doors, comes out to just be a little bit more simpler, in my opinion. But like I said, you want to kind of do this with me as well, but experiment with other techniques on your own about what works best for making your own cage. Some people might like splines more. However, that concludes this part of the tutorial. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about lining up these major vertices, and then we're going to add a little bit more geometry to our cage until we eventually get the major mold of the car that we're aiming to do. Hope to see you guys on the next tutorial, and thanks for watching.